Alright guys, it has been a rough year for Sony, for PlayStation, for all of their games that they've ported over to PC that require PSN logins in order to play them. It's been a weird year for Sony. Going all the way back to May, there was a lot of articles coming out discussing how Helldivers 2 decided to reenact, after originally suspending, the PSN requirement to play the game through Steam. And of course, it pissed off a lot of people, enough that Sony reversed the decision and said, okay, you know what, no more Steam Sony PlayStation account required to play through Steam. However, this did not solve the problem that there was about 120 to 150 different regions, different countries, that flat out don't have the ability to create PlayStation accounts. And by the sheer virtue of not being able to make an account in those countries and those regions, you still cannot play Helldivers 2 as far as I know. Of course, we've also seen some other situations, such as the fact that now we have Space Marine 2 available to play. So again, this is a game that's probably gobbling up a lot of the players who might not feel so inclined to play Helldivers 2 anymore, creating quite a lot of competition in this space for this type of game. And of course, we have seen Helldivers 2 try to buff their patches to try to make people happy after they nerfed the hell out of a lot of their weaponry. And again, this is just a situation where the developers, I think, are messing with the game too much, and it's unfortunately going to just continue to drive away the player base. Despite the fact that this game, for a while, it was kind of a meme, it was viral, everybody was playing this game, it was just, being gobbled up left and right by everybody. And unfortunately now, it's just not hitting the numbers that it used to. So now we're seeing the same situation going on with God of War Ragnarok on Steam, on PC, a few days after it launched, where essentially people are not having it. The Steam reviews are not going well. It is getting downvoted quite a bit. Now again, it still has a majority of people playing it with positive reviews. I think it's something like 66% positive on Steam, but that's an awful lot of negative. So we see this article from PC Games N saying, I don't know what that N stands for. It's been a rocky few months for Helldivers 2 as Arrowhead battles to find the right blend of fairness and fun. For some players, the regular changes to Helldivers 2 stratagems and arsenal are part of a welcome effort to keep the game even. For others, Arrowhead is micromanaging and its regular updates and patches are slowly flattening the enjoyment in pursuit of an impossible idea of balance. Largely, though, the shift in sentiment towards Helldivers 2 began back in May, when Arrowhead told PC players it would have to link their Steam accounts to the PlayStation Network. While that update never went ahead, the God of War Ragnarok Steam reviews are in, and the Sony Santa Monica game is being criticized over the exact same issue. And what's crazy about this is with God of War, it's a single-player game. There's just no reason to require a PlayStation login. And a lot of people have addressed the fact that, unfortunately, it's one more situation where you could have an account that gets hacked due to Sony's lack of security, lack of protection of your data. And anything that requires a third-party login for a single-player game just seems kind of asinine in my opinion. I know there's going to be a fair amount of people who go, oh, come on, it's just one more account. Just make one more account. And I'm sure if it was the right game, maybe I would budge on that and say, okay, for this game, I'll play it. But I'm not going to be doing it for God of War Ragnarok. Now, Eurogamers out here saying that God of War Ragnarok's being review bombed. And again, anytime that there's a game getting negative reviews, or a movie or a television show, it's always the same thing. Review bomb, review bomb, review bomb. It's never addressed that things that suck get positive review bombing. It's only when it's negative reviews for legitimate complaints or reasons do they call it review bombing. And that's exactly what Eurogamer is doing right here, saying that it's being review bombed on Steam as users once again protest Sony's controversial requirement for PC users to link to a PSN account. And again, I think it's just fair to say that honestly, for a single-player game, it doesn't make any sense to require a third-party login. So you see where it says right here that others are unhappy that even creating a PSN account in a country where the service is available requires submitting a mobile phone number to verify your age or submit a photograph of your face or a government-issued ID to a third-party site. Crazy stuff. I would never go for that. I get why people are upset about the PlayStation account stuff. It sucks when developers stuff online features into a single-player game, said one positive reviewer. But I don't even understand because I could play fine without logging in. It sucks because those reviews are going to turn people away from an incredible game. Now, I have seen this, to be fair, where people have said, hey, don't believe the negative reviews. The game's great. This is just somebody who, can't get their computer to work right or can't figure out how to load their drivers or whatever. And there are situations like that where there's genuinely unintelligent people who can't figure out how to make software run, and then they just downvote something, and it's completely a user error. This other person says, the fact that this game, a single-player game, forces you to sign into a network which is notorious for data breaches is absolutely ridiculous. One person says, if it weren't for the fact that I adored the first game and that I wanted to play this one since it came out on PlayStation, I wouldn't have bought this game at all. Extremely scummy behavior from Sony here. And I think we've seen that time and time again with Sony just being a generally scummy company. And then Steam Trader on Twitter says, I realize that a lot of PlayStation people in the comments and gamers in general don't realize this, but due to the PSN requirement on PC, God of War Ragnarok cannot be purchased or played in 172 countries. Only about 20 countries can. That's kind of an issue. And again, you can see it right here. Go back to the Helldivers 2 situation. Let's say you're somebody who actually wanted to buy this game on Steam and you wouldn't mind creating a PlayStation account, but your country or your region is blocked from doing so. It's completely insane to then require it. Think about how many more copies they might sell if the PSN requirement wasn't there. But we're not done yet. So again, we are now seeing this report from That Park Place saying that the Sweet Baby Effect, God of War Ragnarok's peak player count, less than half of God of War, which is kind of crazy to think about. Now, I will completely, full disclosure, admit that this game has already made its money back. Look, if you just look at the PlayStation sales alone, you're talking about a game that sold allegedly 15 million units on PlayStation. This is not a situation of saying, oh yeah, God of War Ragnarok went woke and they went broke. No, this game sold just fine on PlayStation. This is not even up for debate. This is not something I even want to discuss. However, it is certainly not doing well on PC. And again, the game sold before a lot of this Sweet Baby crap kicked off. So again, we don't even know how the game would have worked or how the sales would have looked had this game launched after people were aware of the Sweet Baby antics that go on behind the scenes. So this article from That Park Place says the peak concurrent player counts for Santa Monica Studios' God of War Ragnarok are less than half of the studio's previous installment God of War. As reported by SteamDB, God of War Ragnarok hit a peak concurrent player count of 31,600 earlier today, just a few days after it became available to purchase on Steam. You can see the peak was 31,606, comparing it to the God of War, which was 73,529 when it launched. This is over 57% less than the previous installment in the franchise, which had a peak concurrent player count of 73,529 back in January 2022. Interestingly, both games have the exact same Metascore of 94 from critics on Metacritics. So we're not talking about an issue where one game was great and one game sucked, and that had any effect on the total number of people playing it. Despite the scores being similar, the lack of players for God of War indicates players are not purchasing the game. I mean, that's kind of a given. One of the reasons could be that video game consultancy Sweet Baby Inc., led by Kim Belair, worked on God of War Ragnarok. And this cannot be understated, because let's be honest, these are games. Look, I've admitted before, time and time again, I never owned a PlayStation growing up, so before I built my PC, the option to play God of War never existed. Now I'm looking at these titles going, oh man, maybe I should go back and start playing them, but I know where it ultimately leads. It leads to the collaborations with Sweet Baby Inc. and the effect it's having on these games. So why would I go out of my way now when I can, start playing these games years after they were even popular to begin with and start buying this Sweet Baby infused crap? I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm not going to waste my money on this crap. I'll play different games that don't have these consulting companies, consulting on them. Another reason for the lack of players could be the fact that the PlayStation Studios requires again, PlayStation Network account. And yeah, I think that that's honestly a fairly large issue, and it's definitely affected their user reviews. And you can see right now, again, the current player count is only sitting around 15,305. Not shabby numbers for a single-player game, especially a game that's several years old, but the game just came out 3 days ago. So again, this guy Rithian on Twitter pointing out that God of War Ragnarok is the largest PlayStation publishing flop on PC, following just a mere 30,000 active users at its peak. PlayStation Studios' PC ventures might be slowing down following a few very low player count releases. And I don't know for sure if that's going to be the case, but what I will tell you is, more so than anything, and this is not a console war talking point, because I honestly don't care about the console wars anymore. The fact of the matter is, I see a lot of rhetoric online from PlayStation fanboys talking about how PC players, PC users don't deserve PlayStation titles. You see this time and time again if you scroll through any social media site. They are the most vocal, vehement people about how PC players don't deserve PlayStation titles. It's insane. I don't understand the vitriol. I don't understand why they're so antagonistic, but I do think it is worth noting that some of the people behind God of War Ragnarok have been very political, very vocal about the fact that they think games should be political, and it may have an effect on this game's sales moving forward on Steam. And honestly, I'm not surprised if they stop putting these games on Steam altogether in the future. But let me know what you think about this, guys. Make sure to check out the links down below. Instant Gaming still has the giveaway going, and of course Meta PCs if you need a PC, and I will catch you on the next one. Alright, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.